Hi everybody, welcome to Archimarathon. Today we are at the newly completed Lang House by Austin Maynard Architects. The best architects in the world.
Did you know the word Lang in Chinese and Cantonese means pretty?
Ah!
So maybe you can call it that.
Welcome to Pretty House.
Roll.
That was a roll intro, that's what, you get it. Come on. So we thought it would be fun to show you a newly completed project. This project reached what's called practical completion, which in a contract sense means that the owners can move in last week. And then the builder's got 12 months to rectify defects. The builder's here today, so already they're onto it, fixing just the little things, the little paint marks and little scratches that we want them to fix up. In terms of how we've designed the house, we've got it's really about a response to site. So you've got on one side a neighbour, the western side, that's got a wall on a boundary, so that means that we can build right against that. But on the eastern side, where their building is set back off their boundary, that's where we have to apply council res code, it's called here, but basically a setback code. And that started to generate a mass that goes across to the west. And because this is the south, so the sun in Australia is coming from that direction, it's always in shade, we've tried to bring the bulk back to this side, so it's only overshadowing the street.
We can really see that the alignment there, it's really just the next door neighbours.
Yeah, well if you come further along here, this lines up with the front facade of the neighbour, but then that element actually lines up with the second story. So the neighbouring conditions have generated much of the form here without us being a slave to it. And on here where this gap is, that's actually got a turf roof, so that will eventually grow plants and they'll start to spill out over here. Yeah. The chevron pattern, there's a house around the corner called Moore Abbey, which is from about 1934, and it's got these beautiful brickwork in it that I just love. It's a great South Yarra home, and so we borrowed some of that language here. It's a very different home, but it's about actually connecting with the place in some sort of way. The sheeting that we've used as well, it's got this ribbed pattern on it, and then we've used a similar language in the glazing as well. So for privacy, we've used fluted glass, but it also connects with that idea of the lines in the cement sheet.
Are we gonna go in?
All right, new house, shoes off. Hi. So we're inside the house. We've got a whole heap of areas to drop bags and coats and things like that. We're missing a door. Again, we're in defects period, so they're just fixing this door, but that's all concealed from the garage onwards. And then we've got this little garden bed in here that kind of separates that entry space.
Is that a mirror?
With a mirror, so it looks twice as big.
Oh, look at that.
And then it's open straight through to the north.
What's this over here?
This one?
Yeah.
Here?
Yep.
Oh, so everybody wants a guest bedroom now if people stay over, and so often it's just this lost room that collects dust. These guys were pretty clever. This is a guest bedroom. Right at the entry, and there's a Murphy bed here.
What's a Murphy bed?
A Murphy bed is where it hides in a cupboard and you pull it down.
Oh, one of those things, yes.
And then we've got these great curtains, which you can pull all the way around. There's wet paint here, I'm not going to pull it. And you can pull it all the way around to form privacy. And it's right in the front door so people can come and go as they want. There's a bathroom right there, but it's not a whole room, so therefore people don't feel too comfortable to say over there, welcome.
I like the steel detail there. The little,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because we've got a main beam that's running all the way through the house, because you probably saw from the stair that's a two-storey void. And what we didn't want to do is have a big column in the front facade, because we wanted to keep all of the lines really thin on the front facade, so we brought that column inside. And again, instead of having a massive column, we've turned it into 3 smaller columns.
And I like them that you can actually put coffees on them if you need to. Or pot plants.
Or if you're cleaning the windows, just hang your Windex there. So this is a bathroom that serves the ground floor, but also that guest area. What's cool about this though, is the efficiency of it. So directly above this is almost exactly the same bathroom. So all of his services are all lined up. We're not running services all over the place, wasting, you know, the hot water that has to feed through the building and energy.
And like usual, you keep it pretty close to the entry. So when people come home and go, oh, I need to go to the toilet.
That's, yeah, because they've got 2 young kids in this family. And so often you get to the front door and it's like, I've got to go, I've got to go. And if you've got young kids, automatic light in the toilet. Because how often do they just run in there, turn on the light and leave it on? This is an AMA special, beautiful Claire Ward in the office designed that. And also this, look at this rail.
Oh!
Isn't that lovely? So when you put your soap and all that.
So that's the same curvature as the wall outside?
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is the only internalised space. So it's the only space that, even though we're on a small block, it's the only space that has artificial light only.
Yep.
So when we come in, again, north that way, this is east, so we've got all this beautiful morning light coming in and heating up the slab. We had to do that because of the windows and the open space of the neighbour. So again, what's dictated much of the form making is the continuous wall on the boundary to the west. So we've built against that. And then we've got our res code envelope, so our setbacks that we need to achieve. And then to protect those windows, we've actually cut this out. That's been generated by the planning code, but you can see what we've done here. We've actually turned it into the centre of the house. You've got the kitchen is in the middle of the house, connected with that garden, connected with the northern garden, and it's like the command centre of the house.
And that level difference, because over there it's higher at the back?
Our favourite dimension, 450. But you're spot on, Kev. This has a very slight fall down the side, and instead of having weird steps, we just decided to cut it at 450 because that's a perfect seat height, which deals with the level change between the front and the back.
And that's a beautiful little nook for the morning.
Yeah, look at the sun coming in here. So you've got your kitchen bench, which is exactly double this, so that's 900, and this is 450. And so you can have people over, you can be cooking away without them in your way, and hand them a glass of wine. There'll be some stools that sit here as well. So it's a really functional workspace, and you can have people around you, but they're not in the way.
I love how the kitchen island bench is more like a piece of furniture than it is like a lumpy thing that is so popular now.
Yeah, you're spot on. Like even this, we've actually hung this as though it's just a bit of cabinetry that's hanging off it. And like we always do, instead of doing a big block that you're describing, we like bringing them off the ground so you get much more light bouncing through. It feels like a bit of furniture. And it's also just easier to clean. So when your robot vac is going, it just goes straight through this.
And also, it's the same palette of the rest of the house as well, instead of just a different piece of furniture altogether.
Yeah. And so we've got the western wall that we've inherited, a continuous wall from the neighbour. So we pushed all of the cabinetry. We pushed the bathroom, the Murphy bed, the inbuilt fridges, the integrated fridges. All there is beer.
What more do you need?
And all of your storage needs.
There's Spider-Man.
Yeah, your microwave and things like that can all be hidden away, and that all happens on the west, hard against the neighbour's wall.
So straight up, you've got the void.
And that's where your 2 bathrooms stack one above the other, is where the curb is. So that's the bathroom we just went in, and then the other bathroom directly above it. And because we've created this void with all this cabinetry on one side, when we bridge the void, we actually use perf.
You're such a perf.
Lame. All electric house. So there's a huge battery in the garage. There's a heap of solar panels. There's no gas at all, so induction cooktop, all electric house, so it's fossil fuel free. We do this in most houses as well. Again, that's the boundary wall. If that was stone or something else, this would feel really dead, but instead we use mirror because it reflects all of the natural light in the garden when you're facing that way. It just makes the space feel bigger. More places to perch. Deliberately a curve, so this is the hub of the house. This is the command centre.
There's another little curve over there.
Yeah, another little curved off area. This, one day when the kids grow up, will be a little study space. So you can have a computer in the main part of the house, and you can keep an eye on what the kids are doing when their own computer.
I guess the key here is to creating, even though it's open plan, which is very common, it's creating different little nuances and little spaces.
That's exactly right. That's it. So instead of carving it up into, spaces like I was saying before about the guest bedroom, and that's a separate space, it's a series of little nooks that are continuous from the south to the north, and on both ends you've got natural light.
I do love the, you can almost see the street and people going past.
Yeah. So this is a big thing for us at Austin Maynard, that privacy is a sophisticated concept. You don't build a fortress and hide yourself away and enclose yourself. That has absolute privacy, but look at the amount of light. And you can also see if somebody's coming up too. You have control over and surveillance of the street without anybody being able to see what you're doing in here. 450 is 3 steps. It's just the magic number.
Magic.
Oh, the pattern, the chevron pattern based on Moore Abbey.
Oh.
The wine store is also a chevron. Yes, we get carried away.
It works though.
And this is cool. So again, the idea of having technology and computers and things like that near where everybody is working, so you can keep an eye on each other.
Oh, it's a workstation.
It's a workstation, and you saw the way that slides away. We also found this product, which is a bifolding panel. It slides away. So let's say you've got just paperwork everywhere and it's an absolute mess, and this is pinboard, so you've pinned up everything here, and somebody comes over, you can just go, work, you're gone. And close it up.
And chair can tuck in there as well.
Yep. Yes, that's right, because we left a little gap there. Oh, love it. And then the backyard, which isn't huge, but again, it's like Kev said, it's a small block. But the cool thing here is that's north, so the sun's coming around all day, and we've extended the second story.
So it gets the shading.
Yes.
Passive solar.
Passive solar, look at this episode. And so that's the master bedroom that goes out to that point. In winter, the sun comes right in and it heats up this slab, so it passively heats the house. And then in summer, the sun's much higher and the shadow lands right there, the peak of summer.
So it's calculated.
It's calculated. That E is calculated, and that dictates, therefore, where our master bedroom is. It's a small backyard, open through both ends, but we're also lining this with jasmine, so eventually this will become just a huge hedge of greenery. It'll be the backdrop of the main living space. One part of the brief was that they wanted a garden shed. Think about that. That usually goes in the backyard, a terrible tin shed. What we actually did was put it to the side of the building with a door. It's locked. With a door on both sides, so you can throw all of your junk and your rake and your lawnmower. And that coincides with, again, a neighbouring condition. There's actually a building, neighbour's building on the side there, so we've built all the way to the boundary there.
And that connects both sides towards the yard and the garage, all the way through to the street?
Yes, so from the street, you can come all the way through to here. So it's like a services line, and that's pretty important. Usually you leave a metre beside your house that just ends up filling full of junk. We've built it in. Master bedroom with a whole heap of louvers on it, so looking up at it, you get total privacy.
Oh, so it's turned
out.
upside down, so it's actually pointing upwards. So you can't see down into the neighbouring yards.
And so if you see other projects of ours, like Vader House, those louvers are the other way around, so that you can look downwards and you can control the amount of light coming up. But it's the other way here to produce privacy from people looking up, and vice versa.
And also in summertime, in the peak of the heat, you can close them pretty much.
Becomes pretty much a solid wall, so you can defend from all of that radiant heat.
And because instead of being a blind on the inside, it's outside, so it'll stop the heat coming in before you can't really do anything about.
Sun protection needs to be outside the glass, not inside the glass. The moment it hits the glass, you've got a greenhouse. Speaking of North Light, there's a block of flats there, and this is their car park. So it is unlikely that will ever get built out. So even though we're in suburbia, dense suburbia, you're not going to have another building come straight up there and block out your northern light.
And that's part of the strategy as well. So Absolutely. You know that. It's not as if you were hoping.
No. So many of these moves have been generated by the site condition. It's what we say about, you know, almost every episode is you've got to really look at what you've got and assess that and analyse that before you start making any moves.
And that's a neighbouring wall.
Yeah, so that's a continuous wall straight through to the front of the house.
And so you can see the thickness of that services that you're talking about.
Oh, this, yeah, yeah. Which is dictated by the fridge.
Ah, yes, of course.
So you've got whichever fridge you use, and here we've got an inbuilt fridge, then you've got an area of airflow behind it for venting. That dictates, that's the maximum width you have in this whole thing, so that dictates your width, then everything else has to be designed around that. So we're not just making stuff up, everything is like an intelligent reaction to a condition. One thing you may have noticed is the chevrons, which wraps around the building on the second level. It only happens on the second level. And the reason for that is, to create that, we ended up cutting the sheets and then we ended up with waste. So we were chucking chunks of the sheets out. So on the lower level, we decided just to return to a vertical line so we didn't create too much waste.
What's with the paving difference there?
There? Aha! Look at this. So I often think that some of the best parties you've probably ever had were in a garage. I often think the garages can be an absolute waste of space. So here what we've done is continue the paving from the front all the way through. And so it's a small block, which is perfect for a family of 5. But what happens when there's a party? Guess what? You can just open all this up straight to the kitchen and party. So the garage has potential to have other functions, another life. There's the battery. Sustainability is hot. Put that on a mug. Oh no, it shouldn't be that. It should be sustainability is cool. Yeah, the climate is hot. So the western wall, the width of the cabinetry dictated by the fridge, that becomes the perfect width for a stair. So we're walking on top of the kitchen cabinetry now. Very efficient. And then the bridge, which is perf, so you're hovering over the top of the kitchen.
Oh, I guess the timber there it belongs to that joinery and you're leaving that joinery and therefore it's a gap.
That's right.
You change the material.
You're walking on joinery rather than a stair, thematically. This will become the rumpus room. Kids are like 18 months old and 4 years old. That's the kids' wing. So one bedroom here, another bedroom down there, and the other bathroom, the stacked bathroom. Then on this end is the master bedroom. And the laundry and all of the services. We might come back to that. The main bedroom, so you've got the ensuite and walk-in robe there. And you've got their beautiful big bedroom with all of their cupboards, another little workstation, somewhere to put your makeup on. Louvers that we've turned upside down so they go that way only. So you can't look down into the neighbour's private space, but you get all of that sunlight, you get the spire of the church in the distance. That car park is not going to get built over, so that's just an open view. And so really thinking about the way people use the spaces each morning, have a shower, get dressed, on your way. This is their shower. They've got all of this nice, soft southern light. But you can also, so I can be in here having a shower, showing my chest to the world. Hi, neighbours. And have you seen this? We found a tile that we could make the chevron pattern out of.
Nice.
So instead of inventing something new, as we've talked about a lot on this channel, finding something you've done before, tying in with that language. So one bedroom here that opens straight onto the rumpus area.
And this gets all that northern light as well, with it.
Yeah,
morning light, late morning.
Yeah, north's pretty much that way. The stacked bathroom, but this one's got a little bit of a difference. The same shower setup, Same toilet. And then we've got this, the bathtub.
Oh.
See, do you remember when we were out the front and I pointed out how the western wall, we line up with the front facade, but we have the second facade lines up with the second story of the neighbours? And that created this garden. And so we decided to put this bathtub down at that level where you can enjoy the garden and I can wave to the neighbours. And a microphone. Love me true. So clear way through. You've got natural light at the end of the corridor, which we always like to do when the parents' door is open. You've got natural light coming in here. This is the other kids' bedroom. That's where their cabinetry is on that side. So that wall is 700 mil thick instead of 1400 mil thick. And then a sneaky little bit of glazing here, bit of a breeze and a view out to the street.
It's nice when rooms have more than 2 windows or 2 different walls.
Well, cross ventilation. You know, I know that's not a big opening, but you can get cross ventilation through here. Imagine growing up in a room like this. My bedroom was not like this when I was a kid. Privacy, Kevin. And then we've got the laundry. Super important space.
Often forgotten space.
Often forgotten. And we've brought that upstairs to the bedrooms where the clothes get taken off and things like that instead of jamming it in the cabinetry downstairs. And then that opens out onto a drying area and where all of the machinery is.
Oh.
So that's all tucked away, hidden away from anybody to see.
But that's also the setback area then, isn't it? So
Well,
just not wasting that.
Exactly. Their 2-story part of their house ends roughly there. So again, the neighbouring condition has created this opportunity for us. And then natural light this side as well. So borrowing secondary light. That's an internal window that's borrowing light from the rumpus area.
Nice.
Continuous shelf that goes around at the top of the door as well. So you've got heaps of storage. You can dry things. It's small but super pragmatic. The first time I visited this site with the clients, I was in an Uber and I just sketched something out, this blue drawing. If you look at that, this is pretty much what we ended up building. It was my intuitive response. But then you look at the other pages on that first design package that we presented, there's lots and lots and lots of other ways of looking at the house. So all those iterations, and we showed them that. It's like, we've done all this work that you've paid for, here it is. And we came full circle back to the first one. But you've got to show them because otherwise, you've got to build trust. And if you're charging somebody a fee, but you're only showing them a part of it, they're going to question, are you overcharging me? And then already distrust builds into the relationship.
But it's also testing the design though, right? That you're testing the design to prove that the full circle is actually, you know, that works for those reasons.
Absolutely, because typically, the vast majority of the time, your first intuitive response is not a good one. Like, usually that doesn't happen. Usually we head off and then we go somewhere and come back and go and try a whole heap of things and you end up somewhere else. This is one of the very rare occasions where it was like gut instinct. But I guess it's because from so much experience dealing with town planners and getting planning permits, the constraints here were so rigorous and solid and fixed that in many ways there wasn't much else we could do but build against that wall.
Your voice has got better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the rhino court. I had an allergic reaction to some food and my throat started closing up. And I was like, Kev, I think I need to go to hospital. And Kev was like, no, we're filming today.
Yeah. Eat some concrete.
Traditional Chinese medicine, is it?
That's right.
Eat some concrete.
Toughen up.
Toughen up? Yeah, okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. We hope you enjoyed Lang House, aka
Lang House.
Pretty House. It's a pretty house, do you agree? Leave a comment, please. What do you think about planning legislation generating so many of the decisions? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a bad thing? Do you think we stuffed it up? Let us know. I'm very proud of this house. I'm very proud of this house. I think we had incredible constraints and we have thought about them in ways to maximise a small block for a family of 5.
Do you agree?
Do you agree?
Do I agree?
I don't care what he thinks, but I do care what you, what you think. Leave a comment.